What is going on, everybody? We got a Sunday slate of NFL games. Quick recap. We went up 1.01 units on our Thursday night games and bringing our total on the season up 1.55 units. So just keep increasing that green. That's all we're looking for. We were down quite a bit. We've definitely built back, and now we're on a little bit of a run. We'll keep that rolling. Kicking it off, though, Colts versus Chargers. We got a 1.5 point spread, over under of 48.5. I'm taking Alec Pierce over 36.5 receiving yards. He's currently averaging 54.8, and he's kind of looking like the true wide receiver one in Indianapolis. Everyone's still getting the nod to Pittman, but Pierce is averaging 10 more yards per game on the same amount of receptions, and this he gets one more target a game. So I starting to think maybe Daniel Jones likes going to Alec Pierce a little more. May just feel comfortable because Pittman's still getting doubled. Maybe Pierce is open a little more, but I think there's something there that Danny Dimes is seeing that we're not seeing, and Pierce is getting that wide receiver one look. Plus, Vegas is predicting a 48, 49 point game here, which is relatively high in the NFL sense. So these two teams, known for their offensive prowess, and could certainly see a shootout in the making here. A lot of teams, maybe the Colts figure out that Chargers defense relatively easily. We see this game going quick and off to the races. And then the spread 1.5. I do favor the Chargers in this game quite a bit. And then mainly due to the Chargers defense. And what I'm expecting them to do is remove Jonathan Taylor from this offense. I'm not expecting a very big game out of Jonathan Taylor. I think that's going to be the focal point of this Chargers defense. And if that's the case, they lean on Danny Dimes to really get that arm going. And one of his main targets, as I said, is Alec Pierce. So 37 yards for Alex Pierce is all we're asking for. Hitting that over 36.5 for him. All right. Up next, we got the Giants versus Broncos. 2 picks from this game. We got a 7 point spread, over under of 39.5. That is quite a low total there for a 7 point spread. You got to at least have 7 points between the teams. 39.5 seems a little low, but we're staying away from it. We're taking Cam Scatabo under 53.5 rushing yards. Assuming it's not going to be a very popular bet with the way the Giants have been in the media, how everybody's feeling with them. Certainly looked good the last game or two, but I think we see a little bit of regression here. I don't think this Giants team has quite figured everything out to really, make a playoff run just yet. I mean, it's certainly possible. We'll see how they look later in the season. But this is a Broncos team that, even playoff teams are struggling against. The defense has certainly locked some people down, figured some things out, and I think we see the Giants really go up against a strong defense here. And Scabado, he's averaging this total currently, but he had over 100 yards rushing just last game, which certainly bumped us up. He was in the 40s before. After that 100-yard rushing game, it bumped him up into the high 50s for average yards. So not exactly, a powerhouse runner or somebody who was getting a ton of yards prior to that last game against the Eagles. So we'll see how that looks out. I mean, hopefully they can keep this going. Being in New York, that would be cool. But I don't know if the Giants have really, figured things out yet. I think they've just gotten a couple things to click in the last couple games. And we can certainly see the Giants losing pretty early in this one, having to rely on the throwing game to get that going. If he throws it to Scatabo, I don't really care. As long as Scatabo's not rushing it, that's all that we matter. So under 53.5 for Cam Scatabo. Staying in the same game, going J.K. Dobbins, anytime touchdown score. The Giants have given up 7 rushing touchdowns so far this season. That's a pretty high number. We've only played 6 games. And Dobbins, he scored 4 of 6 games. So he's gotten in the end zone 4 of the last 6 games. And last game, he didn't get in the end zone. So, I expect him to actually get in this game. No, knowing that he missed last game. It's not one of those, I see a trend, getting in. This guy's getting in more often than he's not. He's probably not going to go back to get donuts for touchdowns. So I like him getting in the end zone here. Plus, the Blackos are a solid run usage offense. You got some teams like the Chargers and the Bengals who are throwing 75 to 85% of their plays. These Broncos is more of like a 50-50 in terms of that. And I certainly see them dominating this game, handing it off a little bit more to try to run the clock, especially later in the game. Why not have J.K. Dobbins break one off or punch one in the end zone when they're on the 1 or 2 yard line? can certainly see that happening. So Dobbins, anytime touchdown scorer. If you're on DraftKings, there is a promo there. So definitely hit that up. Next, we got another New York team, Panthers versus Jets. We got a 1.5 point spread, over under 42.5. I feel like this spread should be a little bit more in favor of the Panthers. Taking Bryce Young over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Probably something you don't hear very often is taking the over on Young touchdowns. But if this was the Jets defense of the last 3 years, I would have said, no way, we're taking the under, we're slamming everything under. But this Jets defense has not looked good. They are still figuring things out. They got a lot of holes. They're giving up big plays. And I think this Panthers offense is a team that's certainly on the rise. I'm not going to say they're good. I'm not going to say they're making the playoffs. But there are times when we're seeing them put things together. They're making the plays. They are scoring touchdowns. And, Bryce Young is looking a little bit more settled. I would, say the first 2 games of the season wasn't looking great, but now they're looking okay. And this, like I said, this Jets defense looks terrible. This is going to be a dumpster fire of a game. I think the Panthers can be able to score relatively easy. And the Jets not going to be able to score on offense. Give the ball back. Allow Bryce Young to keep having those attempts, walking down the field. 3 and outs gives the Panthers a lot of time to be able to make some plays. And the Jets defense has given up 12 passing touchdowns so far this season. So not even counting running, just passing touchdowns. That meets our line of over 1.5. So hopefully they can just keep that going and give up 2 more in this game. But Bryce Young, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's actually plus money over on DraftKings and most lines. So not a bad sprinkle there either. Up next, we got the Cardinals versus Packers. We got a 7-point spread, over under of 44.5. Taking the Cardinals plus 7. Now, if this drops any lower than that, 6.5, anything like that, stay away. But I do not think this Cardinals team is a touchdown dog to the Packers. Now, I'm not going to say the Packers are bad. I certainly think the Packers come away with a win here. But the Cardinals team is averaging 22 points per game, and the defense has only allowed 30 one time. So, just off those statistics, they're right there in line. They're within 7 points. They don't allow Packers to get 30 and they score their 22. You're 7 right there. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. And the one time they allowed 30 was to the Colts offense, who's been surprisingly explosive. Packers, they just scored 40 points against the Cowboys. I'm not expecting them to come back out here and drop 40 again. And I think they're going to have to. I think this Cardinals team is going to be able to score, move the ball, get on the scoreboard there. And the Packers' red zone defense has not looked great. Their percentage is down to 28% of red zone stoppage, so they're definitely not a team that's stopping the ball a lot in the red zone. Granted, the Cowboys had something to do with that. They didn't have any explosive plays. All of their touchdowns were in the red zone, and they came from the red zone, so that definitely affects it a little bit. But still, you got to look at the big picture. I think this Cardinals team is not a touchdown dog to the Packers. This goes down to minus 6.5 by Sunday morning or something, you're looking at it then, stay away. But at 7 points, 7.5, I'm taking the Cardinals to cover. Lastly, we have the Raiders versus the Chiefs. We got 11.5 point spread, over under of 45.5. If you guys have been around for a little while and watched some of the NFL videos, you'll know exactly the reason why I'm taking this under 45.5. When it's only one team contributing, you take the under. 72% click when the spread's over 10.5, you take the under. When you don't expect a offensive performance from the other team, you take the under. It's just baked in there. We've had luck with it all season. I think we've only dropped this bet once or twice so far, and we've taken it probably double digits by now. But yeah, there's a clear favorite in this game, and there's a clear dog in this game. And the Chiefs are far and away the better team. Raiders have refused to have less than 3 turnovers a game. I don't understand it. I don't know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure at times I see them just hand the ball to the other team. They're just refusing to not turn the ball over. Like, refusing to not turn the ball over. If you can follow that, you'll figure it out. But their 3 turnovers a game is insane in the NFL. They need to figure it out, and I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out against these Chiefs. And I could easily see a 30-10 game here. We smoke the under. Raiders, being the dogs that they are, don't think they're going to be able to put up quite a bit of a performance here. They could get down. Maybe they get in the red zone, turn the ball over. waste a lot of time, which is good. We don't want, time on the clock. We don't want people to have time to run down the ball. But I can certainly see this Chiefs team 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and this Raiders maybe 1. I definitely like that. So under 45.5, Raiders versus Chiefs. Those are our 6 best bets for the Sunday slate. Hopefully you guys are tailing, and I'll see you next time.